Good morning, brethren. If you're surprised to see me up here, you're not half as surprised as I am. No, Dad asked me to speak, and it's always a privilege and an honor to speak before the congregation. I especially appreciate the fact that I don't see any hooks or tomatoes, so I think I'm good. There you go. The subject that I have for y'all today, it's a great big topic that I'm trying to cram into a little bitty message. But I feel it's an important one and a timely one. So let's just jump right in. I want to start with two questions, right? Now, these are big questions. First, what is the nature of man? And second, why does idolatry matter to God? Now, hopefully by the end, my goal is to answer these questions and show how that they are deeply intertwined. Like I said, it's a big topic for a little short message. So buckle up. As always, when answering the big questions of life, we should always start with what the Scripture says. So turn, if you would, to Mark chapter 7, verse 20 through 23. All of my verses are the English Standard unless otherwise mentioned. So breaking into the verse here, just to give you context, this was talking about the Pharisees were concerned that the disciples had not washed their hands before the meal because there was a ritual washing that they were supposed to do. And so Jesus was saying that it's not what goes into a man's mouth that defiles him, but what comes out. So we break into verse 20. For from within, out of the heart of man, come evil thoughts, sexual immorality, theft, murder, adultery, coveting, wickedness, deceit, sensuality, envy, slander, pride, foolishness. All these evil things come from within, and they defile a person. Wow, it's quite a list. Brethren, let's be honest. Could we not add to that list? All you have to do is turn on the 11 o'clock news every night and you will see somebody, Florida man, you will see somebody adding to or refining that list every day. We know this verse well. Romans 8:7 says, for the mind that is set on the flesh is hostile to God, for it does not submit to God's law. Indeed, it cannot. Or as the New King James Version puts it, because the carnal mind, the human mind, brethren, is enmity against God, for it is not subject to the law of God, nor indeed can be. Now, wait a minute. This brings a question to mind. Doesn't Genesis 1:27 say, so God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created him. Male and female, he created them. Right? And doesn't David say in the Psalms, for you formed my inward parts. You knitted me together in my mother's womb. I praise you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Wonderful are your works. My soul knows it very well. My frame was not hidden from you when I was being made in secret, intricately woven in the depths of the earth. Your eyes saw my unformed substance. In your book were written, every one of them, the days that were formed for me, when as yet there was none of them. That's Psalms 139:13 through 16. So if we are made, brethren, in the image of God, and we are fearfully and wonderfully made, brethren, what went wrong? What went wrong? The truth is, brethren, we went wrong. mankind went wrong. God's design for the mind of man are flawless. But the directions our minds take, brethren, whoo, boy, not great, y'all. Not good at all. I want to ask a question real quick. By the show of hands, how many of us have ever been so taken in by a television show that we scheduled time around it because we just had to know what came next in the next episode? Anybody? Anybody? Okay. How many of us, this is for the bibliophiles in the group, how many of us have stayed up way past our bedtime just to get a couple chapters deeper into a book we're reading? Anybody? Anybody? Uh-huh. How many of us have had hobbies where we get so involved with what we're doing that we lose track of time? Yeah? Okay. Brethren, I submit to you that the nature of man is one of obsession and compulsion. Now, I am a recovering addict, and so a lot of times I think about things in that context. And the longer that I have away from the drugs, the more I see the similarities in behavior between people in general and addicts. Brethren, this was not God's design or desire. The truth is, brethren, He put that design in place because we are designed to worship. We are designed to worship the God that made us and sustains us. We are wired for a deep, fulfilling, and nurturing relationship with our Creator. That was the intended nature of man. But because we put other things in God's place, we obsess over things that don't matter, that can't sustain us. So that answers the question of what is man's nature, and hopefully you can see where I'm leading, brethren. Our second question, why does idolatry matter to God? Brethren, it's like this. It's dinner time, and the kids are hungry. Now, you've made them meatloaf and mashed potatoes. You've been slavering over a hot stove. Your children are clamoring for candy. So why not? Goes in the mouth. Goes through the same processes. The sugar will actually make them feel like they're full. And even gives them a burst of energy. But how long can they run on junk? How long, brethren, can we run on junk? The truth is, brethren, that idolatry matters very much to God. Exodus 23-6 reads, "You shall have no other gods before me. You shall not make for yourself a carved image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. You shall not bow down to them or serve them, for I, the Lord your God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers on the children to the third and the fourth generation of those who hate me, but showing steadfast love to thousands of those who love me and keep my commandments." Sounds like it matters a lot. Jeremiah 10, starting in verse 3, says, "For the customs of the people are vanity." And we know from the Song of Solomon that means useless, like a chasing after the wind. "A tree from the forest is cut down and worked with an axe by the hands of a craftsman. They decorate it with silver and gold. They fasten it with hammer and nails so that it can't move. Their idols are like scarecrows in a cucumber field, and they cannot speak. They have to be carried, for they cannot walk. Do not be afraid of them, for they cannot do evil, neither is in them to do good. So why does God care? Why doesn't he just say, oh, look, there goes those silly dirt people I made with those crazy statues again? No. Idolatry matters because God loves us. He wants to provide for us, to sustain us, to treat us like a beloved wife. And that's why it matters so much. That's why he says, for I am a jealous God. What does God compare idolatry to? Anybody? In the Bible, over and over again? Prostitution. God compares idolatry to prostitution. Turn to the book of Hosea, and this is where we'll finish today. Hosea in the first chapter. The word of the Lord that came to Hosea, son of Beeri, during the reign of Uzziah, Jotham, Ahaz, and Hezekiah, kings of Judah, and during the reign of Jeroboam, son of Jehoash, king of Israel. When the Lord began to speak through Hosea, the Lord said to him, go take to yourself an adulterous wife and children of unfaithfulness. An adulterous wife is just another way of saying a prostitute. Because the land is guilty of the vilest adultery in departing from the Lord. So he married Gomer, daughter of Debalim, and she conceived and bore him a son. And so we go on to read about these children that Hosea conceived with the prostitute Gomer. Read on verse 8. After she had weaned Lo-Ruhamah, Gomer had another son. Then the Lord said, call him Lo-Ami, for you are not my people, and I am not your God. But then what does it go on to say, brethren? Yet the Israelites will be like the sand on the seashore, which cannot be measured or counted. In the place it was set where it was said to them, you are not my people, they will be called sons of the living God. The people of Judah and the people of Israel will be reunited, and they will appoint one leader and will come out of that land, for great will be the day of Jezreel. We see that God looks at idolatry as unfaithfulness to him. Brethren, it does matter. Chapter 2, say of your brothers, my people, and of your sisters, rebuke your mother, rebuke her, for she is not my wife, and I am not her husband. Let her remove the adulterous look from her face and the unfaithfulness from between her breasts. Otherwise, I will strip her naked and make her as bare on the day she was born. And it goes on and on and on, brethren. Brethren, we are made by a God of love who wants to treat us like a lover, like his treasured possession. Brethren, are we acting like it? Brethren, when I choose a topic for a message, the truth is I ask God to give me the words, and a topic will come to me, and it just sort of writes itself. I can't, in good conscience, stand here in front of you and tell you that I devote as much time to God as I should. Can any of us say that we devote as much time to God as we should? I can't tell you that I obsess about God like I obsess about, music, Star Trek. The nerd list goes on, right? But brethren, this message is as much for me as it is for you. Because there is hope. You see, guys, Hosea took Gomer back. In chapter 2, verse 23, I will plant her for, this is talking about Israel again. I will plant her for myself in the land. I will show my love to the one I called not my loved one. I will say to those called not my people, you are my people, and they will say, you are my God. The Lord said in chapter 3, the Lord said to me, go show your love to your wife again, though she is loved by another and is an adulteress. Love her as the Lord loves the Israelites, though they turn to other gods and love the sacred raisin cakes. And so we see, as we continue reading, that despite our adultery, God is still longing for that deep, meaningful connection that we are wired to take. So, brethren, God is a God of mercy. If we turn back to him, he will turn back to us. If we are faithful to him as a faithful wife, what kind of husband will he be?